Let's be honest, nobody wants or remembers a tick the box e-learning course. So, you're an L&D manager or a training manager or a project manager and an e-learning project has landed on your desk. Maybe it's a brand new module or maybe it's an old module that's gone stale and needs a review. You know you want something that's better than another tick the box course, but you're looking around at you and your team and you also know that you don't have the time, the capacity or the studio to do it. Well, stick with me for the next few minutes and I'll show you how we can take the whole project off your hands and hand it back to you done properly, on time, ready to drop straight into your LMS. Now, just some background on Poncho. I started Poncho eLearning because I saw that most e-learning was following the same model, basically a click-through PowerPoint. Now, I'd come from a graphic design and a media production background, and I could also see that there were these new emerging tools that allowed a lot more interactivity than e-learning was currently delivering. How do we bring these interactive tools together with media to create new kinds of learning experiences that hadn't existed before? And that's what Poncho is all about. How do we entertain people? How do we engage people? How can we make e-learning something that people actually enjoy, not just click through, that they can remember, that they can actually apply in their jobs? Because here's the thing. With most e-learning, people can't remember it a week later and they absolutely cannot apply it in their jobs. What we try and do is create courses that connect with people on a deeper level. We want to create e-learning that is engaging, memorable, and most importantly, that people can remember and apply. So let me give you a couple of examples about how we can help and support our customers. When the Australian Lot Feeders Association came to us, they were spending good money with another provider. They weren't getting value. The graphics weren't right. The content wasn't explained properly. The media wasn't right. It didn't reach the learners. It didn't engage people. It didn't all mesh together as an engaging, interesting e-learning package that people in that industry could really relate to. So we took the time to get to know them and get to know the industry. We learned who their learners are and what they respond to. And then we built a solution specifically for them. We built it with custom infographics, with animations, with videos led by subject matter experts in their area that could really articulate what they were doing and how they were solving problems for that industry. So people starting in the industry could get a deep understanding of the industry and what best practice looks like in that industry. And the feedback from the programs was fantastic because it resonated with their audience. And that jump in quality helped to change things for them. It helped them commercialize their store and move their members onto a paid membership. And that has gone a long way to making their entire training function cost neutral. Here's another example. We worked with a corrective services organisation going through a big organisational change project. They were bringing in new full body x-ray machines to scan inmates and visitors for contraband. Now, this was a delicate project because the EPA had to sign off on certain components of the training, the union had to be involved and sign off on what was being trained to their members, and the trainers and subject matter experts had to be carefully consulted to make sure everything was correct. So, we worked with all these stakeholders to build something that had never been done before. Through the training, we slowly introduced learners to how to read x-rays. We taught them about human anatomy and what a normal human body looks like, what contraband looks like under x-rays, high density and low density items, and all the absolutely bizarre places people try to hide things. Then we paired all that with interactive scenarios, where they were actually examining the x-rays, using a top-down approach, zooming in, zooming out, and trying to identify contraband within real x-rays. Not only that, but we taught them how to use the machines, how to turn them on, how to use the software, how to position someone within an x-ray machine to make sure you get a good x-ray. And the end result was an e-learning program that took someone from a position of having no prior knowledge to being able to confidently use an x-ray machine, take x-rays and then analyze those x-rays for contraband. The project was received really well through the project team, revolutionized the way x-ray machine training was done and the way people were trained for identifying contraband. And it also won a Platinum Award at the LearnX Awards. One of my favourite pieces of work was a collaboration we did with the Australian Institute of Sport. Growing up, I was a gymnast, and whenever anyone from our club was invited to the AIS, you knew that they'd made it. The AIS was a pinnacle. Now, the AIS came to us with a problem. They needed to explain very complicated physiological and psychological concepts to athletes. But at the AIS, you have athletes as young as 14 years old. Some of these athletes at the top of their sport still haven't finished high school. So we needed to explain concepts like the autonomic nervous system, threat versus challenge, how breathing affects performance, and how to stay calm under stress without dumbing anything down. To do this, we worked collaboratively with their sports psychologists who gave us really complex source information. So we'd go away and design some briefs and come back and present them with options on how we thought we could make people engage with this content. They'd give us feedback and we'd adjust our approach. It was a real collaborative effort. Sometimes the answer was a game, sometimes it was an animation, sometimes it was a video, other times it was an interactive breathing exercise. It just depended. What were we trying to get across, and who is this learner, and what is the absolute best way we can make it simple for them to absorb? With courses like that, you never really know. But for me, I like to think that when I was watching the Olympics, that the athletes there were actually recalling some of those techniques that we developed through that training to actually help them in those pressure moments when they need it the most. And hopefully, we had some kind of contribution towards them winning medals. One of my favourite projects of all time was work we did for the Australian Rail Track Corporation, or ARTC. They came to us to build a program for their track force protection coordinators. Now, these are the guys that are responsible for protecting the workers that are working in a track area. It's a highly critical safety role. Now, when we analysed the training need and we were working through with the project team, we realised they had all these acronyms and catchphrases for safety. Stop and think, or take five, all these kind of things, which every business has. What they didn't have was a program that actually walked someone through when do these things apply? And in a real environment, when do I actually have to stop and think? When should I be questioning my decision making? When should I be checking other people's work relating to that? When should I involve my team in decision making? And when should I hold them to a higher standard? And that was a critical part of this job. So, working with ARTC's project team, we mapped out a typical day in the life of a protection coordinator. Everything from planning, working with their team, toolbox meetings, passing on information, conditions changing within the course of a day, even through to pack up a notification that things were clear on track. And we worked with their subject matter experts to determine what are the real decisions these people need to make. And from there, we built a choose your own adventure video learning package where you're thrown into the body of a protection coordinator and through first person view, you're looking at all the decisions they need to make in a day and also the consequences of those decisions. You can dismiss someone's comment at a toolbox meeting, or you can ask for more information. You can say that should be fine, or you can double check the work. The decisions and the consequences of those decisions are on you. It's called the non-technical skills program, but it's actually a decision-making program. It's all about when to stop and think, how to work with your team to make sure everyone's working as safely as possible. Now, this program got 98.5% positive feedback. It was then extended out to the wider management team and it won the AITD Award for Excellence for the best use of gamification simulation. Now, I said before, you hand us the training program, we manage the project, and we hand you back your files ready to drop in the LMS. But how does it actually work? To start with, we scope it. If your source content is ready to go, then we'll work with it. If it's not quite ready to go, we'll massage it to suit the audience. And if it's stuck in someone's head, then we'll have a workshop and get it out of their head into a draft. Once you approve that, we'll start storyboarding. That's where we take the draft content and show you how it will be presented as an e-learning project. We also storyboard any animated components and write scripts for any video media. So once you've signed that off, we move through to development. And that's when we build everything. The e-learning, the animation, shoot and edit the video, and all the interactive components. You review it at every stage to make sure everything's done properly. And then we do the final round of edits and hand you back a finished course ready to drop in your LMS. We even hand over all the source files so you can make any small edits in the future. We do this for some of Australia's largest organisations, and we can do this because we have a great team. Our team includes project managers, instructional designers, illustrators, animators, and videographers, all focused on bringing your project to life. So, if you have an e learning project that you don't have the time, skills, or capacity to build, or you've got something that's really dull and you want to see how we can bring it to life, so we have the team, the skills, and the process to take your project, bring it to life, and deliver it on time to a high quality level and give you back a finished e-learning package that makes you look like a superstar. So answer the questions below and let's jump on a call and talk about your project.